Dark day in Washington. Protesters stormed the Capitol where the U.S. Congress was gathered to certify Joe Biden's election win. The riots erupted after Trump addressed supporters saying he would never concede. His followers breached barricades, scaled the building and broke into the chambers. Lawmakers had to be evacuated. One person was killed and 13 arrested in the ensuing clashes with police. A citywide curfew was implemented and more than 2,000 troops deployed. World leaders have expressed their shock, calling it an attack on democracy. Congress has since resumed to complete the certification process. And Twitter has blocked Trump for 12 hours after he posted a video telling his supporters he loves them. The platform warns the account will remain blocked if the tweets are not removed. Let's get more details from our U.S. correspondent, Chiguruta Dave, live from Washington, D.C. I mean, just quite extraordinary images, something you never thought that you would see. Tell us the latest on this and how this finally played out.
It has just been an absolutely extraordinary, unprecedented day in Washington, D.C. I think there's been shock all around at what has happened, that protesters have stormed the Capitol, the seat of democracy in the United States, and really put into question how strong that democracy is. Of course, once the Capitol was secure once again, senators like Mitch McConnell were once again trying to, after condemning what had happened, after condemning the fact that people had stormed into the Capitol building, entered the chamber, entered the Speaker's office, that the National Guard having been deployed from the whole of Washington, D.C. and from neighbouring states coming in for support in order to stop the chaos that ensued. Senators like Mitch McConnell were trying to bring back confidence, saying that they tried to stop democracy, but it's not going to happen, and that voting, the process that they were trying to derail, that is the ratification of the Electoral College vote certifying Joe Biden's win, will continue and they will get completed, says Senator Mitch McConnell, in no uncertain words condemning what had happened. And that is what lawmakers are doing currently in Congress. They are in the process of ratifying those results. Now, if you remember, before there were some challenges to some of those results that are being put forward. Interestingly, many of those Republicans who are supporting those challenges have suddenly changed their mind after what they have seen happen today in Washington, D.C. People like Kelly Loeffler, the senator for Georgia, who has been unseated by a Democrat, Raphael Warnock. She was trying to hold on to her seat, and she said, after seeing what had happened on the floor of the Senate, said she can't support that challenge anymore to the certification of votes. Senator Lindsey Graham, a staunch Trump supporter, one-time critic, but most recently a staunch supporter, also said enough is enough.
I mean, and the supporters have no legal grounding, don't they? They have no legal case. Donald Trump is out. Joe Biden is going to come in. Donald Trump, though, obviously refusing to step down. And in fact, he supported his supporters on Twitter. What happened there?
Yeah, so very quickly on the legal basis, the fact is that the courts have thrown out these challenges to these results. And now, right now, actually, there has been one successful challenge in Congress to the certification of the votes in Pennsylvania. So we're now seeing 2 hours of debate on the results in Pennsylvania. The one for Arizona was unsuccessful, but there's a Senator Josh Hawley and several House members who have successfully levelled this challenge against Pennsylvania. But again, it's unlikely that that is going to actually be seen through. And this is the point, that there is no evidence for those baseless claims that the president has been making of electoral fraud. The courts have thrown those out, and he has, expected his Republican allies in Congress to support him to derail this process. They haven't, and clearly he was, by encouraging his supporters to come into Washington, D.C. and protest, he was hoping they would do that job for him. But now that oxygen of publicity, social media that the president has relied on to directly communicate with those supporters, that has been taken taken away from him because he has been banned, suspended. His account has been suspended from Twitter for 12 hours. If he violates their rules again, he will be permanently removed from Twitter. Social media, for Facebook, I beg your pardon, has also suspended him from posting on Facebook because of violation of rules as well. Facebook and YouTube have taken down that video that he made to supporters, telling them that he loved them but telling them to go home, and yet continuing those baseless claims of election fraud. So it's including that, plus the fact that there is signs that many of his supporters in Congress are distancing themselves from him, suggests that some difficult times ahead for the president if he wants to try and continue maintaining those baseless claims.
I suspect it's not over yet, though, Jagruti. Thank you.